Welcome into Minnesota Vikings Now. I am Tom Downey. We are about to break down our final 7-round Vikings mock draft. Shout out to producer Patrick for cooking up this bad boy. Before we get there, we will be live on the Chat Sports YouTube channel for not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but all 7 rounds of the 2023 NFL Draft. If you want the best possible coverage with analysis of every pick, not just the ones that ESPN is going to show you and care about, but the nitty-gritty stuff. I've got 300 prospect evals, and I'll drink for anyone that isn't picked. YouTube.com/chatsportstv. Make sure you guys are subscribed. The Vikings are a bit light in the draft capital this year. They have a first, a third, a fourth, a fifth, and a sixth. We will have picks for each of them in this mock draft. Beginning in round 1, Hendon Hooker. I'm kidding. I ain't doing you guys like that. Brian Branch, the defensive back out of Alabama. One of my favorite prospects in this year's class. I have a top 10 grade, or prospect ranked, I should say, on him this year. He'd probably play more of that nickel slot type of role for you. Nickel overhang, super safety role for Minnesota. That's what he played at Alabama, and he was awesome at it. I think people are overthinking Brian Branch because he wasn't a premier end athlete. I got a Malcolm Jenkins comp on this kid. And what I would do is plug him in at nickel. I look at the Minnesota cornerback depth chart. I see, okay, Byron Murphy can play some nickel. Andrew Booth, Caleb Evans can play some outside, but Murphy also played plenty of outside for Arizona. How about Murphy and, I guess, Booth or Evans or somebody else wins the job on the outside? And Brian Branch plays nickel, can play some safety for the games maybe when, unfortunately, Harrison Smith gets hurt or whatever. The dude does not miss tackles. He is not the biggest. He is not the fastest. He is not the strongest. He is one of the best prospects, though, in this year's class. This would be, for me at least, I think for producer Patrick too, one of the ideal outcomes for Minnesota in this year's draft. So, somewhat realistic dream here. You probably can't just plug in, they trade for Mahomes or something. Who is your dream first-round pick for the Vikings? Sound off in the comment section at the pinned comment of today's video. If the ad break comes here on YouTube, cool. Take advantage of it. Head down there. Drop that prospect name for me in the comment section. How about you double dip at corner? I think this makes a lot of sense for Minnesota because you need help there. You saw how bad injuries went and quickly for the team last year. Maybe this is your long-term outcome with Corey Trice on the outside if you want to let Brian Branch eventually replace Harrison Smith. Longer term at safety, short term means your nickel. Corey Trice is an awesome athlete. He's 6'3" and change, 206, 32 and 3/8 inch arms, so he's got the size, length there. Outside cornerback prospect. As far as sleepers go for like day 2, this is one of them. He's a fantastic athlete, 4'4", 740. Agility was better than expected too. Doesn't miss tackles. That matters when playing island corner stuff here. He offers some press coverage traits. I think that's something that Brian Flores is going to covet. Now, the technique, the awareness can kind of come and go. He plays a little bit tall. He hasn't played a lot of cornerback either, hence some of the technique issues. Stopped playing football in 8th grade. Didn't resume until 2019 at corner, I should say. Stopped playing corner in 8th grade. Didn't resume until he got at Purdue in 2019. Has had a high ankle sprain, a torn ACL. He had a groin injury because he had to wear the brace, and then he didn't quite handle it properly. But he's a really great upside player in the 3rd round. I would like this double dip here for Minnesota. Year 1, maybe you give Corey Trice some adjustment period. You play Brian Branch in the nickel. Year 2, if Andrew Booth comes along, great. He stays on the outside. If he doesn't, you plug Corey Trice in there. Can always move Murphy inside a nickel, Branch back to safety. But trying to turn a weakness into a strength is a good idea for the Minnesota Vikings. We'll continue to be defense heavy here. Kobe Turner, the defensive tackle out of Wake Forest. Now, he was originally at Richmond. Then he transferred in and had some pretty great success for Wake Forest. The numbers didn't dip off at all. Really good pressure rate, 10.5%, 10 TFLs as well. Checks in just under 6'3". He's added some weight as well from his time at Wake Forest to bulk up a little bit there. Justin Madubuike, if you guys remember him out of A&M and the Ravens draft comp there. Pressure rate was really great. 10.5%, 34 pressures. Didn't result in that many sacks, only 2 sacks this past year for Wake Forest, but great PFF numbers there. The TFLs are really impressive. He can shed blocks really well. No 40-yard dash, but the agility was awesome there. Plays low, wins the leverage game. He is still more of a bit of a, I call it the bull in the china shop, where he doesn't even know what he's doing. He doesn't have a game plan for his pass rush. That's why there were only 2 sacks at Wake. He just doesn't quite know how to string together moves or counters or whatnot there. Needs some better coaching with the technique and whatnot here. But on day 3, really good pick for Minnesota. I've got sleeper on my notes for him, which is always a good sign. Doesn't have great length. I think you play him 5-tech, 3-tech for Minnesota. What do you think is the Vikings' single biggest need right now? Sound off for me in the comment section. What position are you just trying to fix? I'm going corner. I know Producer Patrick is too. But sound off in the comments section. Bryce Ford Wheaton, a freaky athlete here out of West Virginia in the 5th round, exactly where I have him graded. You don't find very many human beings who are almost 6'4", weigh 221 pounds, 33.5-inch arms, runs a 4.3 840, a 41-inch vert, a sub-7.3 cone. He's got great contested catch numbers, and you're going, okay, wait a minute. Why is the Freakazoid available in the 5th round? Well, I fear that this might be more of a Miles Boykin Freakazoid than an Andre Johnson freak. But that's the level of athlete you have here in Bryce Ford Wheaton. More drops than touchdowns in his college career. That's always a red flag. Didn't do much after the catch. Drops have been a very real problem for him. He'll make some awesome highlight reel stuff and then just drop the easy ones. He doesn't always play up to his side. But on day 3, you always gamble on the dudes with traits. I can teach him to not be a body catcher. I can teach him to run better routes. I can't teach sub 4.4 at 220 pounds. Those guys don't exist very often. So the production does not match the ability at this point, but the upside is certainly worthwhile. Why stop with just 2 corners? And we can make Brian Branch a long-term safety, I suppose. But I think you want to take at least 2, right? And Branch can be a hybrid player for you. Rajon Wright, the brother of Nashawn Wright, also out of Oregon State. I got a 5th round grade on this. This is the last chance you, kid. Those of you wondering. Got great length, great size as well. Uses his length really well to jam. I think he's fairly fluid overall. Has shown flash of the ball skills that year. I think he's a better player coming out than his brother Nashawn is. And Nashawn went in the 3rd round, which was a mistake by Dallas, just so we're clear. No athletic testing for Rajon Wright, but I don't think he's an elite athlete. I think better than what Nashawn was. Nashawn was pretty bad, all things considered. Too many missed tackles, can be a bit grabby. Said his right thumb issue is why he didn't do combine or pro day stuff. That's suspect. But as a developmental player who has the press man capabilities that Brian Flores wants, I think it makes a lot of sense. So grade our final Vikings mock draft. A, B, C, D, or F. Sound off in the comments section. Producer Patrick did it, so I will grade him. I'll give it an A. Brian Branch, I think getting him in round 1 is an awesome idea. And for a team like Minnesota with no 2nd round pick, if we're going to grade a bit on a curve for not having that draft pick, I think it's a really good draft. 2 ways to look at it, right? No 2nd round pick, you dock the grade for it. You got TJ Hockenson for that pick. You throw that in there, it's an A+. I like to focus just on the picks made, not even factoring in future trade down stuff because that'll count next year. You won the trade for TJ Hockenson. Don't factor that in the grade, but overall, it's a good haul for the Minnesota Vikings. Remember to be subscribed. We will have NFL draft coverage for you here right on our Vikings YouTube channel. Do not miss out. Hit that sub button right now.